Hi everyone, it's Amy and welcome back to my channel. So as promised, if you saw video number 1 with me explaining of my recent diagnosis with VHL and the cancers and tumors that go along with it, I promised I would give you a follow-up. So here we go. First of all, I want to say thank you. And when I posted that first video, I really had absolutely no idea what to expect. I just knew that I wanted to share this information, or part of me wanted to share this information, the other part of me really didn't. And I wasn't expecting the massive amount of support and encouragement, the texts, the DMs, the emails, the phone calls, the dropping in at the studio. I am, to say overwhelmed, and I mean this in the best of ways, I can't even explain. I had no idea the outpouring of support and encouragement. I really wasn't expecting it at all. So from the bottom of my heart, just thank you so much, because I just am in awe. I don't really know how else to say that. So I know when we say it takes a village, it really does take a village. So I'm honored, for lack of a better word, that you would take the time to do that. And I know sharing this on social media is, one, really hard for me, but two, also the best way to do it. But for me, social media feels a little bit like going into Costco. If I don't have a list, I feel lost, I spend too much time, and I spend too much money. And social media for me feels very much the same way. I spend too much time and too much money. So for those of you that are actually paying attention to this, as opposed to just scrolling through and hitting like, and actually taking the time to share this information with other people that may have something else going on in their own lives, or that you think should know this information, I am eternally thankful for you doing that and taking the time. So thank you so much. Last week was a really hard week, So not only did we share this information with all of you, and like I said, I was wanting to do that, but also very hesitant to do that. We had started that day by going to a funeral by somebody who we admired greatly, but hadn't seen in a really long time. And no sooner did we post the video that night, we suddenly and very tragically lost Zoe Jane, who had a seizure and never came out of it. And so that was just an awful day. And then the week ended with us losing one of our student athletes, who was seriously one of the kindest, most gentle, amazing souls you've ever met. And you were touched by even just his hello. And he had a medical condition and lost his battle suddenly and unexpectedly. And our hearts go out to his family, but all of us here at Beyond Motion have been so saddened by that, because he was just truly one of the greatest kids you could ever meet, and made everybody around him better just for being him. So last week was a really, really hard week, and it gave me lots to think about in all different ways and shapes and forms, and hearing all of your kind words and things are very, very helpful. So thank you. Unexpected and very helpful. I wanted to be able to answer a lot of the questions I've been getting, and I thought this was the easiest way to do it. And like I said, I promised I would check in. So here I am checking in. The first question I get a lot is, am I in pain? And to answer you honestly, no, I'm not in pain. I'm uncomfortable because of the location of these tumors. They're, in my abdomen, and my body shape and body type, it's not where I carry my weight. So my abs are usually very flat. If I'm going to gain any weight, it goes right into my hips and tush. Maybe you can relate. And so right now I feel and look probably about 5-6 months pregnant. And I know you don't see that in my clothes, and that's intentional. But yes, I feel very heavy around the midsection, very watery, like somebody's put air in me, and as I'm moving, there's certain positions that are just highly, highly uncomfortable. And so I'm definitely not in pain, but I'm not comfortable. It's obviously made none of my clothes fit. And yes, part of that is, I'm eating more and probably moving a little less, but at the same time, it is, I'm guessing, the size of the tumors, as well as the amount of inflammation in my body. And as I mentioned in the first video, this is highly unusual. The doctors haven't quite figured out why my belly pooched forward and why all of a sudden these are showing up this way because I had no signs or symptoms previously. And like I mentioned, nobody in my family has been genetically tested for this stuff. Outside of my father's passing about 30 years ago, no one's ever even had any of these symptoms, unless it was generations beforehand and we just never made the connection because there was no information back then. So no, I'm not in pain. Yes, I'm very distended and bloated and uncomfortable. Am I eating, like I mentioned, pretty much everything that's not nailed down? Yes, I'm following all of my food plans because I've pretty much been pescatarian, gluten-free, dairy-free for, I don't know, more than 15, probably 20 years at this point, or pretty close to that. But yes, I'm eating other things that are not on my usual diet. And I'm saying to myself, no, you shouldn't be eating this, as I'm putting it in my mouth. Maybe you can relate. But it's, small portions and things of that nature. And sometimes you do what you got to do, right? I am backing away from all the sugar, yes. And I mean small amounts of sugar. And getting back onto my regular program, but I am one of those people that if I'm stressing, I will graze. So if there are cashews and almonds around, even cashews and almonds, too many is just too much, right? So I'm eating too many. So I'm trying to behave myself, and I'm trying to stay away from the peanut butter and a spoon. And those of you who know me, that's my downfall. What else do I get asked? Am I sleeping? Yes, I'm sleeping. I wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom like some of us do, and I'm falling back to sleep. As much as I hate to admit this out loud, I'm probably sleeping a little bit better because I don't have somebody snoring in my ear. And while I miss Zoe more than anything in the whole world, when you have that Zoe Jane snoring noise, which I miss more than anything right about now, or if you sleep with your pets and you're used to them walking all over you in the middle of the night, it gets a little easier when they're not doing that. So yes, I'm sleeping, but I just very much miss Zoe Jane next to me. What else have I been asked? What happens next if I had any other tests? So yes, on Monday, this past Monday, I spent 3 hours at Radiology Regional over here around the corner. They're fabulous over there. They were super great. But I'm going to be honest, I did a CT scan of my chest with and without contrast. So that was the quick one. And then I had a full MRI of my spine. That sucked. For anybody who's ever had an MRI before, there is no other way to say that other than no fun, especially if you're slightly claustrophobic. And again, that's with and without contrast. So meaning they take all of these pictures of my entire spine or whatever they're taking pictures of at that moment, without putting anything in your body. And then with contrast means they're putting the contrast or the dye in so they can get those images again and really see what's going on. So why are they doing these things? Well, we know I have a spot on my lung that we're trying to figure out exactly where it is, what to do about it, all that kind of stuff. It's very small from what I understand, and they may just watch it. They may do radiation at some point. They may be able to remove it. We don't know any of that information yet. And my spine, these cysts and tumors have the tendency to also grow on people's spines. And so they want to make sure there's nothing there either. So these are all kind of baseline things to make sure that these areas are A-okay. And then I have nothing to worry about there too. But I won't have the results back for at least 3 to 5 days. So no, I don't know anything yet. I also have a hearing test this week because even though I've had a CT scan of my head and brain and there's nothing going on in there, thank goodness, nothing bad anyway. These tumors and cysts can also cause people to go blind because they can end up behind the eye like my father did in his left eye, and they can cause people to go deaf because the tumors can live inside the ears. So they're just doing a baseline check on my hearing to make sure that those don't exist there and that everything is okay there as well. So so outside of that stuff, what else am I waiting for? Well, I had the genetic blood work done, and that takes about 2 weeks to get back to figure out which variant of VHL I actually have. Will that make a difference for everything or anything? It won't matter for this surgery to remove the tumors and the cancer. So that won't matter for anything, but it may matter for if I need some sort of drug in the future and or for the rest of my family. So everybody else is kind of waiting to get tested just a little bit longer. They want to see what variant I have before they do any testing on their own. And no one else, as we know, has symptoms right now, but that doesn't mean they may be a carrier of VHL and just don't have any symptomology or cancer to go along with that. So that's what's going on. So yes, I'm eating, yes, I'm sleeping, yes, I'm still working out, which I should be doing in the next few minutes. Yes, I'm being mindful and trying to stay as on track as possible. As you can imagine, I feel like I have a timeline, no different than a bodybuilding show. Like, this is the goal, this is when I need to have things done by. So for me, my surgery currently is scheduled for February 6th. No, I don't know the time, probably won't know until the day before. Like I mentioned previously, my surgical team is in the University of Miami, so I will be over there. And yeah, I have this amazing team of surgeons and geneticists and other people that are supporting all of this process, and people here in the Naples area that are helping support. And yeah, so while I'm finding a lot of this to be slightly overwhelming, to say the least, in terms of things I need to get done, like everybody, for year end, and things that I want to prepare and make sure easier. I keep referring to the hospital as a hotel. And I've purchased certain things that I'm bringing along with me to make my stay a little bit more comfortable. Yes, I'm one of those people. I need my diffusers and my crystals and other stuff that make me happy with me. I mean, a little feng shui never hurts, right? I know they're gonna think I'm crazy over there, just like probably some of you do there at home as well, but do what you gotta do. But I just, again, wanted to say thank you so much. I mean, Rick and I feel so supported by all of you. And like I said, a little bit overwhelmed. I never knew what to expect by posting this information, and all of you sharing your stories and support and encouragement, and just thank you. Yeah, I had no idea what to expect. Yeah, so thank you so much for caring, for listening, for sharing, for being a part of our village. And I promise I will continue to share. Feel free to continue to ask questions. These are all really great questions. And yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Peace.